Jam. Toon Jam.
Hello and welcome to Toon Jam. I am Matt.
And I'm J-Man.
And you have joined us this week for another jaunt into our Adult Swim deep dive. We are talking about Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. If you've watched it, you will know that is a part of the theme tune. Yes, you probably thought it was a recording. No, it was me. But yes, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Before we begin, let me tell you about the show. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law is an American adult animated television sitcom created by Michael Oweline and Eric Richter, sorry if I've pronounced any of them wrong, for Cartoon Network's late-night programming block Adult Swim. The show revolves around the activity of Seven and Seven law firm, which is staffed mainly by superheroes and other characters who had originally been featured in past Hanna-Barbera cartoons, most notably Birdman and the Galaxy Trio. The pilot first aired as a sneak peek on Cartoon Network on December 30th, 2000, and the series officially premiered on Adult Swim on September 2nd, 2001, the night the block launched, which we have mentioned in previous episodes. It ended on July the 22nd, 2007, with a total of 39 episodes over the course of 4 seasons. The entire series has been made available on DVD and other forms of home media, including on-demand streaming. A special entitled Harvey Birdman, Attorney General, premiered on October 15th, 2018, and a spin-off, Bird Girl, was ordered to series in May 2019. So there you go. You heard it here last. Couple of fun facts about Harvey Birdman. He first appeared in Space Ghost Coast to Coast. As in, the actual character obviously didn't first appear in it, but Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, first appeared in that. It was, at the time it was made, it was the most expensive Adult Swim show of the 4 that they released first. And final fun fact, there's also a video game that was released on the Wii and the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation Portable. Published by Capcom, and it's a bit like an adventure type game, I think, where you solve cases. And
that's so weird. I've never seen that.
Apparently, the game played like Ace Attorney, if you've ever played that.
Oh, right.
Evidence from crime scenes and cross-examining witnesses during trials, but with the Harvey Birdman type of humour and feel. The game also includes cameos by Street Fighter characters within the 5 cases. Thanks to the show's simple flash process, the game was able to closely mimic the show's animation. So it had 5 cases to it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, quite a few of the characters that you know and love if you've watched the season. Yeah, so there you go.
I might have to dig, see if that's available online somewhere.
I know, yeah. It's a shame that it's not it didn't come out on Xbox, because you can get that on thingy. As we are Xbox boys.
Xbox boys.
Xbox boys. We've just lost half of our listenership.
Yeah, sorry. Bye, everyone.
Bye, friends. So there you go. Some fun facts about Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Yeah, pretty interesting show. So it was on for a while, and it was by the same guys that did Space Ghost. This is what they did, sort of coming out of it, and you can tell.
Yeah,
the humour is pretty much exactly the same. Did you watch this?
I only caught it like a lot later on, like years after it had finished. Someone lent me the DVD, I think, and then I was like, "This is hilarious."
It's possible. Was it me?
It might have been you, yeah.
So I had the first series on DVD.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was just the first series,
yeah. Yeah.
So it was probably you.
It was probably me. Yeah, I was the same though. I'd seen it, I think, once maybe on Cartoon Network. So it could have been like the pilot even or something. I don't know. And And then I saw it in HMV or something and thought, I think it was cheap, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that being good. I'll give that a go. And I've only seen the first series, so this is a mystery. But I mean, we did watch episode 1, which is all about Jonny Quest, and basically a battle between Dr. Quest and Chase,
Race Bannon.
Yeah. Race Bannon, yeah, sorry, not Chase. Whoops. Race Bannon, who like looks after. I mean, we've done Jonny Quest on here before, so if you're an avid listener, you'll know all about Jonny Quest. But it's like a battle for what do you call it? Custody, yeah, of course, custody battle for the kids, for Jonny and Hadji, and it's just really stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like the format for Harvey Birdman is basically this, isn't it? Like, take those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons and basically like put them in very odd scenarios where they end up in a court battle for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Then you've got the ridiculousness of Harvey Birdman trying to solve their cases, and it's unclear most of the time whether he's actually good at his job or not. Like, sometimes he seems like he's an idiot, and then other times he'll like pull a theory out of absolute thin air and solve a case. So it's always questionable whether he's going to win or not, because I think
he's definitely ridiculous and stupid and terrible, but it's almost just like everyone is.
Yeah,
I think there's only like, what is it? Is it Blue Falcon? Is like better than him. Yeah, he's like the ace lawyer, as I remember him and Dinah.
Yeah, that's right.
But I just, it's just, you can tell it kind of came out of, because they call him Harvey. It's Harvey Birdman, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can tell that they were just like like if you say Birdman, it sounds like a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then that's basically where the entire premise, I feel.
Yeah, that's the whole concept. Someone pronounced Birdman wrong, and then we're like, that's a joke.
Well, I think the first thing I like kind of noticed about this, I think for me, is like exactly what you should be doing with old characters.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're going to redo them for kids again, if you're not touching them, do this with them, because it's just bringing back so many like things that you knew as a kid and then making a joke of it.
That's it.
And it doesn't, like, you don't watch it, you're not thinking like, oh yeah, in the general canon of Harvey Birdman, he later becomes a lawyer, and all of this, none of it feels like it actually happened in any real universe. But it's hilarious.
Yeah, it doesn't ruin anything, it doesn't change anything. It's just good fun, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, just like Space Ghost was.
Yeah, the same way.
But it's good that they came up with something, like, it could have been like, I mean, we've not watched it yet, but the Brack Show, I think, was a very similar thing, wasn't it?
But I think Brack Show is more, it's like Brack just having lame adventures at his house most of the time.
Oh, is it? I thought it was a talk show for some reason.
No, it does sound like that, doesn't it? I think because Brack's basically like really lame, and he tries to copy all the other characters. So he wants to be like Space Ghost and Zorak and all of those guys. But he has a pretty standard life, and they end up just like sitting at his house a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah.
From what I remember. So
well, I mean, I'm sure we'll visit it. It's one of the original lineup, so that's probably next week anyway. But yeah, it didn't feel like even though it feels similar to Space Ghost, it's a completely different show.
Yeah, it is, and it's got its own. As it goes on, it definitely goes into becomes its own. You've got all these other characters that are like recurring, that are hilarious, like his boss Phil Ken-Sebin, who's like this blonde-haired, like eye-patched, mustachioed strange man who's like got this weird laugh that he does. There's always sort of a precursor to possibly an innuendo.
Yeah, it's just like absolutely mental, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is.
It definitely seems like it's almost like J. Jonah Jameson on speed or something.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, that's definitely what he is. And like as more of those weirdos make their way in, Harvey Birdman starts to become the straight man.
Yeah.
Despite him being like a very bizarre man himself. So like that's the world you get thrust into. And then to have that mixed with, you know, the very seriousness of law cases,
Yeah.
and like all these very sort of like normal and straight situations. And it
is like they don't just use like, it's not just bizarre characters like I mean, so first episode is Jonny Quest.
Yeah.
That's like, I would say sort of maybe like a B tier.
Yeah.
But it does have like Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones in it and stuff like that, doesn't it? As it goes on. So
yeah,
it's not just obscure characters.
That's it. But then there are ones that you probably don't remember that sort of like become like you know, like mainstays, like, because I'm sure some of the judges and stuff like that were like old characters that they've just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone in it is an old character.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like some really just small part.
Yeah, so you've probably never seen them before, but they may have popped up somewhere in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah,
you get like Peter Potamus down the line, who's hilarious, who's always there, and then like Mentok, the judge, is amazing. There's just so many like oddballs that start to turn up, but interestingly, the cases themselves are just as interesting as the weirdness going on. Like the scenarios they come up with for these characters that would have never been in that situation. Like it's like this one, for example, is just like, why would Race Bannon try and steal the kids away from Dr. Quest? It's so odd.
And it turns out he's a robot anyway, and and like someone else is trying to steal the kids. But he's full on. He's not just a robot. He's a robot that's plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one of the best things I think about, and it's something that has been in all of these Adult Swim cartoons. I think so. I've already said it, but the dialogue and the voice acting.
Yeah.
It's so quick and fluid.
Yeah.
It does feel like something new to this almost. Because I mean, even when you look at the sort of like the MTV ones, they weren't like necessarily super quick, were they?
No.
Whereas this is like back and forth. Like apparently the way they edited it, they had to change because it was too quick.
What?
Yeah, and it was like costing them too much to redo things, so they had to like change to Adobe After Effects to keep up with it. It's like how quick everything is, because I mean the gags are quick as well, aren't they? And like visuals.
Yeah, there's a lot going on sometimes, isn't there? Like, which is quite cool.
Because it's good because there's loads going on in the background as well. Like there's always something to watch in this.
Yeah, which is something you don't sort of like. It's almost like a forgotten thing. Like most of the time with cartoons, it's just like, you know, you're just watching whatever's in the foreground. But like this is like they really know how to like add some depth into it, and you've got to be paying attention all the time to see all the little gags going on and bits and pieces.
Yeah, and it's just like because like it'll be like his little. What I can't remember his like, is it like an eagle or something he's got?
Yeah, Avenger, is it?
Avenger, yeah, and it's just like constantly doing stuff in the background and ridiculous things going on. But yeah, I love that dialogue, that quick sort of. I don't know as it was all recorded at once. I imagine it was the way they talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because it's just like sometimes he's just like like in the right place. It sounds different, but if you've seen it, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah.
and it just adds like so much more comic effect.
That's it. The voice cast's pretty good as well, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Gets going.
I mean, that's probably one of the reasons it was so expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't know as it was loads more expensive, but it was the most expensive. So, because it's Gary Cole, isn't it? As Harvey Birdman. But yeah, it's got some. I mean, it's got so many characters in it.
Yeah, it's a really cool way of recycling all those people, like especially those characters that probably like no one remembers, and then they just become like an absolutely unforgettable part of the show.
Well, that's it, because we've obviously, from doing our sort of through the ages on Patreon, kind of came to the conclusion that really in the 70s, in particular, it was almost like Hanna-Barbera that were the only guys around.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is just like, where is everyone else?
Like everything was Hanna-Barbera in some way, or at least the same as. And so, and it's almost like you've got this massive block of characters, and loads of them have just gone into absolute nothingness.
Yeah.
So it is a good way. I mean, I can't think of another sort of franchise that's gone that same way.
Yeah.
It's almost like ballooned and just disappeared.
It's really strange, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, can you think of anything? I mean, I suppose there's a couple of the 80s cartoons maybe that we might that are starting to come back. I mean, stuff like Thundercats and that. But
yeah,
you know, something with such a large amount.
Yeah, nothing as big as Hanna-Barbera that sort of just dissipated in the way that it seems to have, almost like.
Yeah. I can't think of another franchise that you could do this with. I think as well, because they weren't just like, obviously there were some of them, but there was a lot of sort of semi-serious cartoons.
Yeah.
About like weird superheroes and strange adventures. So I think it makes it easier to make fun of them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
like,
I managed to make fun of pretty much everything in this though as well,
yeah.
like, whether it's serious or not.
But that's like it's good because like you get all the serious characters tend to have like the bigger roles.
Yeah.
And the only silly ones that don't are like really unused characters, so they're almost like making fun of the idea of the character.
Yeah.
But like the A-list ones, they're only in it for a little bit, aren't they? They're like, it might be in the odd show. So like Fred Flintstone, who's like a mob boss.
So good. He pretty much, I don't think he really says much in the episode. He's just like quiet, contemplating, like you're unsure at some point, like, wait, is this what he's up to? Has Fred Flintstone been getting people whacked like this whole time? It's good stuff. I think as well, other than you mentioned Ace Attorney, like how many things make going into law exciting? Like,
yeah, I mean, outside, like, especially for like in a like sort of humorous. I mean, how many law cartoons are there?
Yeah,
because I mean, there's loads of series. I mean, there's quite a lot of TV series about lawyers and stuff. I mean, isn't like that Suits and flipping Ally McBeal?
Oh yeah.
There was that one with William Shatner in. I can't remember what it's called. Boston Legal.
Right.
And there's always like.
Yeah, the procedural like series or whatever.
Yeah,
like, whatever.
And some of them are quite funny as well and interesting and good, but there's nothing as ludicrous and especially animated. I can't think of many shows about law firms.
No, it's definitely a niche that they've tapped into. Like those few kids that are like, yeah, I want to work in the legal system. Yeah. See Harvey Birdman. And
that's
like,
so good about it, because there's so many like example. Like, you can basically make fun of any kind of case and be fairly confident that it hasn't been touched.
Yeah.
Like, it's new material in some way.
It's pretty cool. Like, I don't think it must have been, I don't know whether it was difficult to pitch or like really easy, because it's like that just sounds so stupid. It's got to work.
I
But,
imagine after
imagine,
Space Ghost, probably easy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but like, yeah, on paper it doesn't sound like it would work, does it? Like, just like, yeah, it's a cartoon about a law firm, and we just use old characters and just invent cases about them that never happened.
It's just such a clever premise.
Yeah,
it's so like out of and like I say, it does feel like it just came out of a joke and just got better as they worked on it.
That's it. I think, yeah, with the right people behind it, you can do that the two stupid dogs effect, as we said before, and just like absolutely run away with an idea to the point that it actually just becomes really good in the end. Like,
I mean, that's it. Like, just going back to those sort of franchises, like the only ones I can think of are like, you know, like Street Fighter. That makes sense because you've got like those video games that still have a minor following.
Yeah,
I'm sure whoever is following them probably thinks it's a massive following, and it's big enough to make the game still, you know, makeable. But games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and stuff like that, you could easily use characters like that for a premise like this, couldn't you?
Yeah, just do fighting games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of video games, especially old school video games. I mean, they briefly touched on it in like Wreck-It Ralph and stuff, but if you did something like this,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose
that's where it would go. I think you've got
that's something that sort of like bubbled. It like it would have been huge in a very specific time, and then it's just kind of like nobody cares about it anymore. Like those few games that were like the big deal back in the day.
Like Altered Beast or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like now it's like
No,
people might know. Well, anyone old enough will know about it, or anyone that plays retro games.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're just gonna be like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
And that might be a way to bring back the genre.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do it with something else.
That's it. You hit it here first. It's our idea.
With intellectual property.
You want to cut?
We're all part of that. So yeah. Well, shall we roll on to our reviews? Coming soon to the new Toon Jam Swim block.
It's all your favorite video game characters, but not like you've seen them before.
First up, it's Altered Yeast, where Brad, your favorite beast man, has learned to make bread like no one else.
Then it's Meat Fighter, where Chun-Li, Blanca, Ryu, and all your favorite characters hit the butcher shop to get your fine cuts from the greatest fighters in the world.
Baker Man. Mega Man is stuck on the streets, but don't worry, with his tin whistle and his helmet on the floor, he'll whistle his way back to wealth.
Streets of Paige. Axel and Blaze are back, and this time they're in the library, because they're about to fight the bad guys with knowledge.
Soul Weaver, Legacy of Cain. You know Cain, but did you know he's an excellent weaver? And now he's making tapestries for walls of all sorts, and no one weaves a weave like Cain weaves a weave.
Frojam and Curl. The boys are back, and this time they're in the barber shop. It's gonna be fades and fros all round. Flat top, definitely.
Check out the Toon Jam Swim block, coming soon to screens near you. Here at Toon Jam, we have a 3-point rating system that goes as follows. Thumbs up, new comedies about old stuff. Thumbs down, most Hanna-Barbera things. And
Shaky middle. Your thoughts about me now that I've dissed all of Hanna-Barbera cartoons? Know what I'm saying? You're not so sure? So good, bad, on the fence. Just to say, I don't really dislike Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Disclaimer.
It's just a disclaimer. It was a joke. If you've listened to the show, you'll know that. Because I've rated many of them thumbs up.
So he says.
Sweating.
Yes. The truth has finally come out.
Okay, so Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's a cool idea. I definitely think anything that's really like efficiently recycles the old stuff and makes it cool and new is good for me, because I mean I don't really like old stuff, so if you can trick me into thinking that it was a fresh thing, then fantastic. Win-win. The humor's great, the concepts are really good. It actually makes me enjoy what happens in a courtroom, which most of the time I don't really enjoy that kind of stuff. It's just funny. Like you can't help but laugh at just like all the gags, whether it's the absurd characters, like the strange personalities, or the really like odd spins on the old characters that they've put, like in the scenarios that they've put them in. So like it seems like well thought through, even though it's still got that kind of edge that it's almost like all improvised. So it's got that sort of magical touch of being both sort of like spontaneous, it feels like, but it's obviously someone sat there and thought like, what weird situation can we put this character in, and it's all worked out. So for me, it's gonna have to be a thumbs up, because I definitely would watch more, because I have watched more. I've watched all the episodes. So
yeah, I mean, kind of gave it away at the start, having owned the first season and lending it to you. It's not like be like, oh, by the way, watch this. It's a thumbs down.
Yeah.
So
you'll hate this.
You'll hate all of this. So watch the whole series. So yeah, obviously, I like it. But it's like you say, it is really good. It's clever, because it's that thing where it's really dumb but really clever, and you don't know which it is, but it's so enjoyable, and everywhere you're like, oh yeah, how did they think of that? That's such a hilarious link. I mean, there's a reason we're not making these shows, because you've seen our examples previously. Legacy of Kain, Soul Weaver, anyone. But it's just, it's so smart and it's so clever and it's hilarious and it's so dumb and simple. And even though you can watch it and say this, like if you watched it without the volume on, you just saw it in a shop, you'd never seen it before, you'd be like, this cartoon looks stupid, like it looks cheap. But it doesn't matter when you're watching it, it's part of the humor. Like they use everything they've got. So yeah, wholeheartedly thumbs up. I think so far this is possibly my favourite Adult Swim as well.
Really?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's definitely up there. Yeah. I think it's between this and Aquatine for me.
Yeah.
Like somewhere.
I suppose Space Ghost, if you count that. But
yeah, Space Ghost too. Yeah. Oh, they're all so good.
Oh, basically all of them.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, so far, I mean, it's been a pretty good streak. I mean, C-Lab had an up and a shaky middle.
Yeah, I think that's the lowest we've got so far.
Which is still a really good rating.
That is a good rating, yeah.
So pretty good so far. It's a good start. We've got one more, like I say, in the initial block. So the Brack Show. And then I guess we'll move on to more recent entries.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. So far, enjoyable. Thanks again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you disagreed with us or would like to talk to us about today's episode or any of the previous entries, feel free to get in touch with us on the 3 jokes of the internet Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ToonJamPod. You can also support us by going over to our Patreon, where you'll get extra episodes. At the moment, we are currently drawing to the end of our video game saga, which is a bit of fun. So, I mean, you got a taste of it today, in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're intrigued, then go over to that. Otherwise, if you enjoyed today's show, please feel free to rate and review us on whatever you listen to us. It really helps other people find us and helps us out greatly with very little effort on your behalf. No worries at all. So, again, thank you for listening. And until next time, you stay jammy.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/toonjampod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you and stay jammy.